Welcome back to Universal Bedford, your one-stop shop for everything Universal Studios coming to Bedford. Welcome to another deep dive episode, and this week we're going to be looking at traffic and transport. It's been a hot topic. It's been all over the news. We're going to be finding out about the Wixams railway station, about East West Rail, about the Black Cat roundabout, about the A421 slip road. This is the one where you're going to get into the details with me. Now, if you like this sort of thing, if you want to know everything there is to know about Universal Studios coming to Bedford, then this is your place. If you aren't subscribed already, make sure you are. Now, I think it's time to get right into it. So let's fire it up. So here we are on document number 2.5.0, which is chapter 5, traffic and transport. So let's have a quick look down. We have the contents as we normally do. Nothing particularly exciting there. Let's just jump right into it. These are all of the people who have been engaged in the making of this particular report. You'll see there's a lot of Department of Transport over here, DFT, got Bedford Borough Council, we got East West Rail, we got Borough Council again, National Highways, East West Rail, and I believe if we go a little further, we probably see Network Rail in there as well. So lots of stuff there. Now, we are going to be covering here what's going to be happening during the construction phase and the operational phase. Okay, so this is both about what's going to be happening during construction and what's going to happen when the resort opens. Now, some of this data was collected by Universal themselves, and some of it is from existing reports which have been put together. A lot of the highways data comes from 2023, so there is a little bit of that. We can see here as well, main collection was conducted in March 2023, included the initial proposed model network for the entire A421 corridor and local roads around Stewartby and Kempston Hardwick. ATC surveys conducted over 2 weeks inclusive between 7th and 20th of March 2023, with CTCs collected on a neutral weekday, Tuesday the 14th of March, and Saturday the 11th of March. So there we go. We've got a lot of junctions, we've got links, we've got all the rest of it. So let's just get into it. Obviously, we have here as well a scale of how severe these any disruption might be. So that's factored in. We also have a estimate to driver delay. We have any kind of delays to people who aren't using motorised transport as well, and issues potentially with accidents and what could potentially happen if there was an accident. So here we go. These are basically the specifications as to what that is. So negligible is a less than 30% change in traffic. Low is an HDV is HGV, so it's large vehicles. Low is a 30 to 60% change. Medium is a 60 to 90% change, and high is at over 90% change. Okay, right. So here are a few bits which are in the works at the moment. Now, if you live in the Bedford area, you'll know that the A421 A1 junction, the Black Cat roundabout, is currently being developed. It's being remodeled in its entirety, and part of that is to extend the dual carriageway access from Milton Keynes all the way to Felixstowe and Lowestoft. Effectively, Felixstowe and Lowestoft are big ports, and there was a single carriageway stretch of about 10 miles between the Black Cat roundabout and Caxton Gibbet, or Gibbet. Let me know in the comments. Now that is being now made from a single carriageway into a dual carriageway. Those works are due to be completed by 2027. Okay, but that's a massive project. But that will be key in getting people from East Anglia over to the resort. We also have the Wixams rail station. Now, that was proposed in 2007. Here we are, 2007. Okay, been under construction since 2007. It hasn't been. But they did get planning permission in 2023 to start work, which they did start work, and now they've stopped work because actually the proposed station, the initial station that they were going to build, only had 2 platforms. The new one will need 4. Okay. At this stage, the consented and fully funded Bedford Borough Council scheme expects that Wixams East Station will be served by up to 4 Thameslink trains per hour in each direction, likely to be the trains operating between Bedford and Brighton via London, stopping at many local stations en route. The railway station will provide 2 platforms, both with seating and shelters, blah, blah, blah. But we know now that that has been cancelled. Right. And superseded with the 4 platform situation. East West Rail is a nationally significant railway project which will, if completed in full, deliver a rail connection between Oxford and Cambridge, and as such support the planned substantial growth in the Oxcam arc. The Oxcam arc is a globally significant area between Oxford, Milton Keynes and Cambridge, and was announced by the government as a focus for innovation and economic growth. To deliver this, they'll need to upgrade the existing section of railway between Oxford and Bicester. A major upgrade of the railway line between Oxford and Bicester was delivered in 2016. In order to support increased passenger numbers at Oxford Station, funding has been secured to provide platform capacity enhancements. And bringing back existing section of railway between Bicester and Bletchley, works are complete on the sections of railway line between Bicester and Bletchley, with government currently selecting an operator for the services to be introduced in 2025. Fantastic. Now, this, which currently runs between Oxford and Bletchley, would be then extending between Bletchley, Milton Keynes, over to Cambridge, passing through and right next to the core zone of the Universal Studios site. Now, the East West Rail proposals at the moment do not accommodate Universal. However, Universal, in their proposals, as we've seen in previous documents, do account for East West Rail doing that work and having a dedicated station right in that West Gateway zone. We also have mention of the Manor Road level crossing. Network Rail has permission to close the Kempston Hardwick level crossing and replace it with a new highway bridge, and it has been advised by the Department of Transport that the bridge is a committed development, so it's going to happen. The proposed development relationship with the Manor Road level crossing has been considered thoroughly, and 3 options have been developed. These are described and assessed in detail in Appendix 5.1 Transport Assessment Volume 3. There we go. Now, here we've got a list of all the roads that they analysed the traffic on during that test period. I'm not going to read them all out, but I will pull out the ones where there were high chances of impact, okay, or the sensitivity of the receptors on the link were at the top end. So we have Green Lane, we have Stuartby Way, we have B530 Hazelwood Lane, B530 Ampthill Road, Fields Road, Manor Road, Woburn Road, Ampthill Road A5141 and Bedford Road. Okay, so now we're going to get into the assessment scenario. So we have at the moment 2023 existing, so where things are at the moment. Where things would be if we use 2023 numbers and add on peak construction, which we know is going to be in 2029. We have 2023 plus average construction, which is the average over the 6 years of construction. We have a primary opening year prediction. We have then the primary opening year plus future construction. And we have future years which have the east-west rail construction, and we have the future ones with development excluding east-west rail. So there's a lot of different variables, but we'll probably focus on peak construction, average construction, and opening year. Let's jump through. So here we are. If we then go to the ones where we know where we had the highest change or were the peaks. So we know that Green Lane was one. Okay, so we're looking at then a net change of 10%. Let's pick out these highest numbers. So a 10% increase on Green Lane, a 77% increase on Broadmead Road. Just for context, that is the road that goes into Stuartby from the old A421. That's the one that runs alongside the edge of the core zone and the West Gateway zone. Wootton, a 225% increase. Woburn Road, a 414% increase. It should be said as well that the majority of these roads are registering actually either negligible or negative numbers. Okay, so let's have a look now at the existing plus peak construction right now. We have the biggest one, Broadmead Road. That's unsurprising. Okay, that's this one over here, where we have a 150% increase. We have Wootton at 139%. We have Woburn Road at 320%. So basically what we have here is, in essence, there are 3 roads in peak construction which are going to see a significant increase in lorry traffic. But most roads are actually going to see either only a very small increase or a decrease during the peak construction. Now, that might well be because some traffic will then be diverted elsewhere, and that's what we're probably seeing. We're probably seeing some of those negative results. They're being moved into some of the positive ones. Right. So let's have a look again. Peak construction, weekdays PM. So this is all broken down as well into time. So we're looking here now at the evening rush hour. Again, we're looking at an increase on Bedford Road, on Broadmead Road, in Wootton. Woburn Road is seeing a 900% increase. But majority, again, negligible or negative. Okay. Now, we've got kind of the key ones. So basically, following that analysis there, they're going to then take that information and do a bit of a deeper dive. So Marston Mortain, severity low. Bedford Road, severity low. Then we have Bedford Road, high magnitude of change, but in terms of driver delay, negligible. So we're looking at a big increase in lorry traffic, but a very small increase in the amount of delays that will be caused by it. Green Lane, negligible. Stuartby Way, negligible. Broadmead Road, negligible. Negligible. Broadmead Road, high magnitude of change, but a negligible magnitude of change in terms of delays. Stuartby Way, negligible. Stuartby Way, negligible. Hazelwood Lane, negligible. Let's skip until we get to a high. All of these are negligible so far. Negligible, negligible, negligible. Wootton is high change in amount of HGV traffic, but negligible in terms of any delays. Woburn Road, there is a medium chance of delay if you're not in motorised transport, so if you're walking or cycling. Manor Road, during construction it's been assumed that Manor Road would be closed off to through traffic through the peak construction year for this assessment, so there is no information for that. negligible, 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 negligible. So basically, during peak construction, there is a big increase in some cases of HGV traffic. However, always the impact in terms of driver delays is negligible. I think that's key to remember and key to factor in, because ultimately that's the thing that's going to hurt, getting stuck in traffic. But if they're saying there'll be more traffic but you won't get stuck in it, not too much of a problem. Let's scoot through these. Now, this is all during average, the average construction. So this will all be negligible. Okay, opening year. This will be interesting. We can skip past these because ultimately, we could have a look at the total vehicles because I think that'd be interesting. So this is going to be measuring each of those roads, predicting then what the traffic's going to be like on them when the resort opens. So if we have a scoot down here, just look for the bigger numbers. A421 will be 18% busier. It's not a huge amount, just 18% in total. Manor Road, 23%. That's the road that cuts the site in half. Otherwise, it's all single digits or negative numbers. Okay, right. Primary open year, reference case plus development. Again, we're looking at here negligible impact, a lot of negative numbers in there as well. And we're looking here weekday peak afternoon rush hour, which is obviously the painful time for a lot of people. A421, only an 8% increase in total vehicles. Having a scoot through, nothing more there. Okay, all right. I'm fairly satisfied that that's all negligible. Okay, and that is, of course, we've got here development plus construction. So if there is still construction work going on opening year, that might be towards the sort of the utilities or the lake zone end, or possibly the east-west rail station. We're looking at a 24% increase on the A421. And in the morning during rush hour, we're looking at a 19% increase. Afternoon rush hour, we're looking at a 11% increase. These are very minimal numbers, okay? Now, there have been further assessments made. I'm going to scoot through these. If they're negligible, I'll just say negligible. 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 Minor, not significant. Minor, not significant. Moderate beneficial. So that's to Manor Road, because they're obviously looking at expanding that to potentially a dual carriageway. Okay, we have some more here. So this is all the roads, and what I will do is I'll post a link to this document. So if you live near any of these roads, you can look it up. Okay, so effectively what we've got here is where there are any adverse effects, they will be mitigated with the transport plan. Okay, so the residual effects, direct, temporary, short-term residual effect of moderate adverse traffic significant. Fine. So Wootton has a potential significant adverse effect. That seems to be largely within pedestrian demand. So basically, it's a footbridge, but that footbridge could be overwhelmed. Broadmead Road, again, that's the road that runs adjacent to the core zone and the West Gateway zone. Minor adverse, not significant, moderate. So that's in regards to accidents and safety, because there are no footways on there. Okay. Right. So effectively, what they're saying is there aren't any any paths, any pavements on that road. They don't have any plans to insert any. However, what they will be doing, as we know, is putting in a lot of footpaths and cycle paths. Wow. So there's a lot of tables in there. So maybe your road got a shout out. If it did, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think this goes far enough? Do you think they've gone into enough detail about the possible implications of building a world-class theme park in rural Bedfordshire? I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Look, we're going to keep going with all of our document deep dives right here on the channel. We do construction updates too, and of course we do Universally Bedford Lives, a fantastic little event that happens every Thursday, 7 p.m. We're expanding them every single week. It's got quite the buzz, so can't wait to see you there too. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.